answer these questions. Like before I got into this marriage, actually I could go for prayers and fasting. I could pray for my husband. Leave that time actually, even when I was single, before I even met Jose and everything, every time I could pray for my husband. Every time I could ask God, please help me end up with a good man, a man who fears you, a man who loves you, and everything. So going through all whatever I was going through in marriage, actually it became a time whereby I think it was in my 5 months in marriage, the energy of praying, I didn't have it. More so when I lost the child, have you ever felt you have no energy of praying? You have no energy of kneeling down? Because I'm like, I've been praying all along. I used to pray for my children. I used to pray for my womb when I was single. Even when I got married, before I became pregnant, I could pray for my womb. I could pray for my kids. But now see what, like me getting a miscarriage, it's like it's shattered. There is a part of my life or of my heart, it just shattered. Yeah, so coming out of marriage, actually, my prayer life was very affected. I could not even have the energy to pray. Here I am. I had a lot in my mind. Here I am. I'm seeing like God tricked me. Here I am. I'm asking God why. Because every time I could sit down and ask myself or ask God, there is billions of women in the world. Why do I have to go through this? When I look back, I'm like, what did I ever do to deserve this? Did I ever sleep with someone's husband? I'm like, no. Did I ever cheated on someone? Until this day when I felt no. I was angry with God. I was furious with God. I'm like, no. I'm going to lay it and just put it as it is. I remember this night I woke up, it was around 2. And all along I could not find sleep because questions. God, where did I go wrong? Like, where did I lose the way? How did I get where I am? So I actually knelt down and I remember me saying, I'm mad with you. I don't know how to come to you. I feel you have disappointed me. I feel the point of my life you have failed me, like a big time. And every time I could have questions like, why allow this to happen? For all women in the world, why me? Like, how did they get to that point whereby I now have the record of a woman stayed in 6 months in marriage? How did they get there? Where did they go wrong? So I was honest with God and I asked him, one thing, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for peace. Just give me peace. And my relationship with you, it's broken. How it will get back there, I don't know. But because one thing I know, you knew I will go through this. Because he tells us in Psalms, I've written your life in my book. So everything I've been going through is not a surprise. And I've been praying, God, don't let this happen. But you let it happen. So I could reflect back in the Bible where Jesus himself is praying, God, take this cup away from me. But what happened? God allowed it to happen. So I was praying, God, help me this marriage, don't let this happen. But guess what? It happened. So meaning you already knew. Yeah, so I prayed for peace. And a long time in my life, after there was like, have you ever had? It's like you have entered in another world. Manu, I had peace that night. I slept. The sleep I've been looking for all along. I could not sleep because of the thought I slept. Waking up in the morning, I'm laughing. I'm calling my dad. I'm calling everyone. I'm excited about everything. Until I remember later on that day, my sister calls me. She asked me, are you okay mentally? I'm like, why are you asking me that? He's like, today there is just something different in you. I'm like, oh yeah, something is different. I don't know what God did, but whatever he did, he had my prayer. And then I went to work and everyone could notice this is not the Emma we knew when she came in. I could interact with people, talk to people, give stories and everything. And a month passed by. I'm still like, I'm a bit jovial. I noted nimeongeza nimeweza kuongeza kgs. I've started adding weight. And I'm like, the last time I checked, I was 48. Right now, I'm 58. Meaning those are 10 kgs without within a month. So I was excited, and I started being lively. Actually, I could have those episodes a day. Sometimes I could walk in the road and meet a pregnant woman. Actually, that's when it hit me. Have you ever felt like it's like a knife just gone through your heart? As in, if I remember that feeling, I just feel like my whole body feels like melting away. Yeah, and I remember this time I went home and I cried. And I remember asking God, for the last 1 month I've had peace. I don't need this now. I don't need to go through this now. And so I cried, and I finding myself going to internet, Googling, as in, what is this pain of losing a child? Because every time, let's say, even if I'm excited, when I could remember like me losing a child, it could kill me inside. So I read something about morning period. It's normal to have episodes and everything. Yeah, and time goes by. And this time, me and God, we are not like buddies. Like I had stopped going to church. Yeah, we're not like buddies. I've stopped going to church. I had stopped praying. You remember the prayer that I prayed? That was the last prayer I prayed that night. So we're not like buddies. And I remember this time a friend of mine calls me and she's like, haven't seen you posting, because they knew me with WhatsApp. I used to post things of God, as in every day. You could see something new. Maybe it's a song, have love, it's a preaching. And then everyone started noticing what's not happening. Yeah, so this time my friend calls me and she's like, have you ever seen? She's rebuking me as if I'm the devil. Why are you not going to church? I don't see you posting and everything. I'm like, I think I told you my relationship with God is not the same. No, Emma, everything happens with a reason. God had a plan. I'm like, I know all that. But there is no plan I've seen so far. So she goes to the Bible, she quotes the Bible, like making me, have you ever seen, she's pushing me to go on and everything. You reach a point, I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't push me. Are you the one who wronged me? No, it's him who wronged me. So literally you had a beef. Yeah, I had a beef with God, a bigger one. So here my friend, she's doing this out of concern because she knew the Emma she met, but now this Emma, it's like a new Emma, a new resurrected Emma, who when it comes to the things of God, I'm like, no. Anytime she could call me for worship, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So she was a bit concerned. Okay, have you now in the world, do you drink? I'm like, no, I can never drink. I've never drank. I don't know bar. I don't know pubs. I don't know smokes. So I can never do that. But right now, I'm putting on hold between me and God until He gives me a what? A reason. I remember that day I was very mad at her. I really talked bad to her because I'm like, you have no idea about my relationship with God. So stop getting involved. You deal with Him, with your own relationship, but leave me alone. You're getting it. So I was quite furious. I was really quite mad, and I hung up the phone from her. Then I remember she wrote me a message. Hey, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, don't push me. He's my father. I knew one day we'll have the beef that we have. And one thing I know, he has a solution, because when he took me all this through, he must have a solution to all this. When I asked for peace, he actually literally gave me peace. You're getting it. So that day, it's just like everything just went as it is. And I remember one day I'm like, let me go to church. I'm like, no. When the morning gets there, I sleep. Like, I sleep. Hey, on a Sunday morning, I'm like, I remember church. I remember what I've been going through, and yet I say I have a God. I sleep. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it reached a point, like slowly, I one time got an interest of, it's just amazing how God works. As read in the Bible will work in mysterious ways. Imagine it does. One time me, I'm just hitting, and I'm like, I haven't prayed for this food. I prayed for that food in the middle of hitting. Going home, I remember I had downloaded some R&Bs and everything. They used to soothe me at the time. Yeah. They used to soothe me, kinda. I remember I'm from a heartbreak, but I'm listening to what? I'm from a disastrous marriage, and I had to break. I'm listening to love songs, and this day I'm like, there was this song I had at work, and I put it in, and have you ever melted down? I remember I cried at my place. I started praying. I started speaking in tongues, and after that, I felt a different relief I never felt. So from there, I went back and started all the gospel I had deleted, the worship and everything. So me, I had a new playlist. I was done. God with your things. Yeah, God with your things. Me and you, we are totally done. Yeah. So slowly by slowly, I found myself like getting back there. Slowly by slowly. And I remember this time. Actually, even before I reached there, a friend of mine called me, and she told me all the things that she was going through. You know, when she was talking, oh, I'm here advising her always and everything. But I had an habit. After we talked, I pray for her. And this time, we are done. So I'm like, you girl, have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow. She's like, are we not praying today? So for me, I'm like, you pray for yourself. We'll pray another day. Then she's like, no, Emma, please pray for me. So when she requested, I'm like, okay, let's pray. I tell you, I prayed. Coming to the realization, it like 2 hours has passed. So I'm on her phone, kumbe hata likata simu, as in she's not to be seen. And have you ever I don't know how to explain this kind of a new energy. Yeah, as in there is just something new. I just feel like, I never knew I had burdens. Yeah, so I call her back. I'm like, why did you hang up? I'm like, you had a lot to talk to God about. I felt your prayers were personal. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for respecting that. So slowly by slowly, I found myself getting there. It wasn't a one day journey. Actually, even right now, I'm not yet there. If I'm truly being honest with you, I'm not yet the place I used to be with God like I used to. But yeah. Exactly, the intimacy place. I'm not yet there, but day by day, if before like a month, I could not fast, right now I can fast. So I'm seeing like it's just pulling me closer to pole pole to, and all the question I was asking myself, I allow this. And I remember one time calling my friend, I'm like, what do you think is my purpose in this world? Because you know me, so tell me. And she's like, oh, Emma, you got a great purpose. Because at the time I felt like I got nothing. Like the way I could go to churches and preach when I was single, I felt like I have nothing to give people. Like, what am I supposed to tell you guys? That God is able to give you great marriages like myself. I used to be told that, and I used to pray like you guys pray, and yet I ended up with whoever I ended up with. So I felt like I have nothing to give. I felt like me like standing and talking to people, I'm faking it. So I could ask my God, like, what the purpose? Like, give me a reason why you have to take me through this. And if I'm being honest with you, coming here, sitting this seat and sharing my story, this period just pulled me close to God. If me, Emma, can go to my WhatsApp status every day, I post gospel preachings, for me, that's a big change. If I can stay home, I'm like, I have to pray before I sleep and everything. For me, that's a big change. So me coming here and praying and sharing my story with people, honestly, right now, it's when I'm like, have you ever find like you are getting your answers? So I'm like, so God, you took me through that for people to learn from my story, not to make the same mistake. And then I'm like, okay, I got an answer. And each and every day I sit down here and share my story. actually is the best experience I have, because I feel I'm now doing this is my purpose. This is my purpose of telling people it's okay to get in relationship they fail. It's okay to get in marriages they fail. It's okay. Like, it's totally okay. It's not something we wish for. It's not something we'll want. But when we find ourselves in situations, we never chose those situations, but guess what? Life happens. And life catches us with us in one way or the other, in a positive way or in a negative way. But the question is, the moment that happens, what do you do next? Do you sit down and feel pity for yourself? Do you sit down and keep on mourning? Do you sit down and end your life? No. You have to stand up. You have to wipe yourself, and life has to move on regardless, because it's just amazing. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, people die, but we don't keep on like they're mourning them. Even if we stay there, you will find people are moving on with life. Like, life has to move on. So when such a thing happened, one thing I came to know is God of all seasons. Is God of happy moment, at the same time is God of sad moment.
It is a crisis.
Yeah, He is God of all the seasons. Like, for me, I used to know the sweet God. I need to know the God who provides for me. I need to know God who favors me wherever I go. But what happened when I tasted is that a side of the coin. He's a God of painful moments. But the sweet thing about God is when He let these things happen, He doesn't break us. They're there to build us. Because right now, me sharing, this is my testimony, like what I overcame, like what God, right now, before I could not involve God. But right now, I can sit here and clearly say it has been God all through. Because if it wasn't God, right now, I'm sure I could be depressed. I could be maybe in Madare. Maybe I could have killed myself. Maybe worse could have happened in my life right now. So me sitting here and sharing my story, actually, these are the best moments in my life I've had. Because the moment you share, you come to the comment section, all I do is just laugh, and I'm happy, and I'm like, God, thank you for this. Because if my story, if what you took me through, it's able to impact millions and thousands of people, at the end of the day, whatever I went through, it's nothing compared to what you're doing through my life, through my story. Yeah, so the place I am with God right now, it's a better place. As I said, I'm not there yet, but I'm so much better than I was a week ago. I'm so much better than I was months ago. I'm so much better than I was in marriage. So for me, yeah, I thank God regardless of the pain, regardless of what I went through. I still thank God because I'm alive. I can see the new day. And whatever I prayed for will come to pass in one or the other. So, what came to realize is if God doesn't remove the struggle, He makes sure He's still within that struggle. Because when you go back to the Bible, when you look back, there is no one had an easy life. Whoever walked with God, be it Moses, be it David, be it everyone, be it Esther, they all had their struggles in their lives. But one thing that never happened, God will never let the struggle kill you. He will never let the struggle like finishes you up or end your life. He will still be there. And about, there is something you've mentioned about people in the world having soft lives and everything. And I remember there was someone who asked me a question. He asked me, Emma, why is it people outside the kingdom, their marriages are like flourishing and everything? But why is it in Christianity we have marriages like marriages failing? Then it hits me. God of Christianity is still their God. And that's one thing we don't know. Those guys, in one way or the other, they might not be so much soaked into God. They might not be so much in the things of God. But it does not mean they do not acknowledge God in their lives. And when you look at them, not each one and every one of them, some have failed marriages. And when it comes to Christianity, it's still the same God. It's a God of all seasons. It's a God of happy moments. It's a God of sad moments. It's still a God of people who know Him, and He's still a God of the people who don't know Him. It's like rain. When it rains, it doesn't rain on Christianity. It rains on the sinners. It rains on the prostitutes. It rains on the people that we think they are not worth for God to bless them. So it's still God. So God can bless us, and it's still God who is blessing them. God is the one who is blessing them with successful marriages, but it's still God who is blessing us also with successful marriages. God is the one who is blessing them with pain and shame. So when we come in the kingdom of God, God does not choose. If you know me or you don't know me, because you don't know me, because you don't acknowledge me, and it's not going to rain on your side, it's going to rain everywhere. Yeah.